Well, good morning to everyone again. Good morning, Soroptimist and esteemed colleagues. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to our parallel event. Every year at CSW, we hold a parallel event to introduce Soroptimists and our esteemed colleagues to the work that we do around the world. This parallel event is the Road to Equality, Preparing Women and Girls to Lead, focusing on Soroptimist International's grassroots projects throughout the world. Before we start, just a quick housekeeping comment. If you would please put your questions and comments in the chat, and when the presentations are finished, we will do our best to answer them. Soroptimist International is a non-governmental organization with general consultative status. We seek to influence global policy with a team of 21 UN representatives and 7 duty stations throughout the world. We also work to educate, empower, and enable all women and girls through grassroots projects. We currently have over 72,000 members and we are in more than 121 countries and territories, more than 3,000 communities. We have 5 federations: Soroptimist International of Africa, Soroptimist International of the Americas, Soroptimist International of Europe, Soroptimist International of Great Britain and Ireland, and Soroptimist International of the Southwest Pacific. At this time, I would like to introduce you to Ulla Mattsson. Ulla is the current Assistant Director of Advocacy for Soroptimist International and the past president of Soroptimist International of Europe. She will now lead us in a journey around the Soroptimist world, highlighting some of our work. Ulla, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Beth, and a warm welcome to all of you. Unfortunately, I had some problem with my computer, so you cannot see me today, but you can hear me, certainly. About the theme for the CSW this year. It's women's full and effective participation and decision-making in public life, as well as the elimination of violence for achieving gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls. It is perfectly linked together with President Sharon Fisher's appeal, the Road to Equality, the Federation's projects to educate, enable, and empower women and girls, and the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which all members of SI are working hard to achieve for women and girls. All the goals are interlinked. So by supporting one goal, actions will have positive impacts on other goals, which have presentations today are a clear example of. The United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, expressed the other day during the town hall session that if laws, agreed conclusions, and other agreements didn't help women and girls to gender equality, and in general, the empowerment they deserve, he said that women should be ready to reset and don't wait to be given the power. Power is not given, it is taken, and gender equality is a question of power. So wow, what a great statement from the Secretary General. So with that in the back of your mind, you will be able to hear from women who have overcome obstacles to achieve leadership positions in career and government. Learn how we can develop the next generation of leaders through best practice grassroots programs, excuse me, and provide women and girls with confidence and a sense of empowerment to achieve their fullest potential throughout their lifespan. Discuss grassroots programs designed to change attitudes and social structures in the larger community that act as barriers to gender equality. Like Bev said, it is a tradition to invite the federations to present projects related to the theme of the year. This year is no exception, only that we unfortunately have to meet virtually instead in real life. Let's hope for next year. But two important things are different from previous years. There are not only 4 federations that have to make a presentation, but 5. Congratulations to Soroptimist International African Federation. Well done. Another important thing is we have a young, wonderful speaker among us today. Let me introduce to you Claire Gilman, intern and youth delegate for Soroptimist International. Maybe some of you recognize the name, as Claire was one of the speakers of the SI webinar Progress from Our Past to Our Future on the Road to Equality. And she is also a co-host at the monthly webinars for speakers on the issues that are addressed, as well as assist in UN statements for the high-level political forum. Claire is a junior and Division I rover at Bucknell University and lives in New York metropolitan area. She has an international relations major with a double minor in economics and French. Last summer, she started to work for SI to take part of the high-level political forum on the Sustainable Development Goals and the 2030 Agenda. Claire was also able to take a summer course at the London School of Economics and Political Science on the Middle East and global politics. So, welcome, Claire. The floor is yours.
Thank you. And thank you all for having me today. I'm grateful to be sharing my perspective and my experience today. When I was asked to participate, I had trouble picturing how I fit into the conversation. I come from a white, upper middle class family, and it is clear that my background and experiences are incomparable to the magnitude of many of the topics we're discussing. It is also important, though, to recognize the multiple other factors that can hinder a woman taking on a leadership role. The issues we are facing as not only a gender, but to be young and a woman are universal and something we can come together over. Leadership comes with decision-making, and a woman making a decision unfortunately has a lot of weight to it. There's even more weight added to a young woman making a decision. The decision to lead, however, can change your life as well as the lives of other women and girls. When I was 15, I was faced with a very traumatic experience that really set me back for about a year and still affects me today. Looking back, I realized I was at a crossroads in my life. I could either wallow in the depression that overcame me, or I could make the decision to move on and change my perspective on life. The way I accomplished this was through sports and through my career. My mom was pushing me to get out of the house and do something new to distract myself, to find a new passion in life. I'm so grateful that I made that decision to move on and find a passion, and I decided to try rowing, and I'm now a D1 athlete, and it has completely changed my life. I'm the coxswain on the women's crew team, a position that requires leadership. People often stereotype me. I'm 5 feet, about 100 pounds, small, and a lot of people question whether I'm really a D1 athlete. I've time and time again had to figure out how to prove and establish myself as a leader and as a woman in sports. Taking control of a negative experience and in turn being put in a position of leadership has allowed me to be more confident in myself as a person and as a woman, and encourages myself to step up and take on challenges in multiple ways. There is a want within me now to take on a leadership role, not only for myself, but for my younger sisters and any other woman or girl looking at my story. Once we are given or create the opportunity to be put in a position of leadership, we are paving the path for other women and girls to follow. It is a difficult thing to do, especially as a younger woman, but once we are able to see our power just once, it enables a future of leadership and opens the door to so many more opportunities. Most importantly, it opens opportunity to more than just yourself, but to all women and girls. Without having found my new perspective and finding my want to be a leader, I would not have had the confidence nor opportunity to work with Soroptimist International, let alone speak with you all today. SI has further pushed me to be a leader through my involvement in the President's Appeal and has allowed me to be heard as a younger woman. This only encourages confidence, passion, and leadership. Being surrounded by so many powerful and passionate women is something really special and encouraging, so I thank you all. We're all paving the path. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Claire. You are really an inspiration, and congratulations what you have achieved so far. Also in sports, I didn't know that. And thank God you're over your depression and really came out very much stronger. So I'm sure that there will be some questions for you at the end. Will you be with us during the whole session?
I'm hoping to. I have class a little later in the afternoon, but I'm going to stay on as long as I can.
But could you just say something, raise your hand if you are going to leave? Because we will have some questions for you, okay?
Definitely.
Thank you so much, Claire.
Thank you.
Really an inspiration. And thank you for working for us. It's a pleasure. The next presenter we have is Program Director Di Lockwood, the Federation of Southwest Pacific. Di will present the project Shuuder Girls Center Leadership Project in Mongolia, which addresses to the SDG 3, good health and well-being. So please enjoy the presentation.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome from wherever you are in our world. As you can see, this project comes from the Shuuder Girls Center Leadership Project, and it's by SI Erdenet, which is one of 4 clubs in Mongolia. It addresses SDG 3 and looks at target 3.7, which is essentially about access to services, knowledge, education, and integrating reproductive health into national strategies and programs. To give you some context for this particular project, the Shuuder Girls Centres were established from 2017 in a school where they established a girls' club and provided opportunities in the Girls Management Committee who have leadership. Currently, over 3,500 girls have processed through this. You can see their aims there, and you'll notice that they particularly look at disadvantaged area girls to give them skills for personal development. You can also see education and empowerment and encouraging them to raise their voices for their rights through training and social awareness. And if you look at the pictures from about midnight, and we'll go around clockwise, the current orange there should alert you to the fact that this is the girls protesting about violence against women, and notice they're all nicely socially distanced. The screenshot underneath of the young man we'll look at later. On the bottom right-hand side, for me, is a lovely bright picture showing girls attending a special Bright Futures for Girls course or conference, which gave them skills for looking for employment after they'd made career choices. On the left-hand side are 2 more shots of social awareness action. This time we're going to look at to train peer educators for reproductive and health education. First of all, was there a need? Well, obviously SI Erdenet thought so. Culturally, there is a reluctance to talk about the topics, and that's not unusual in various countries. But increase in pregnancies and abortions suggested that there was a lot of no information, misleading information, or myths about sexual health. They also observed that girls are more willing to talk to other peers about their problems, whether they're in a classroom, small groups, or perhaps even on private chat lines. We all recognise that on this particular issue, boys are part of the problem and they can be part of the solution. It is important that reproductive health training occurs because a failure to do it can have an impact on education and future choices for both genders. SI Erdonet's solution: use peer educators for reproductive health training. Why? Well, students are more accepting of them and more willing to listen than perhaps to any figure of authority. And equally importantly, it provides an opportunity for girls to take a leadership role. What will they teach? Reproductive health, sexual life, STDs, family planning, gender identity, friendship, gender and human rights, all of which are quite demanding and something that is not always comfortable for people to talk about. So it's very brave, I think, of these girls to be prepared to go ahead with that. Now, what was the process that SI Erdenet used? Well, first of all, this time, and there have been 2 previous training sessions in 2017 and 2019, 5 adults were trained. 4 were club members and 1 was a health counsellor. Often the health counsellor was used to help with the selection of students. For this training cycle, 16 girls and 4 boys were selected. They had to have approval for online training. This meant considerable reworking of their documents that they used for lesson plans, posters, things like that. But those were readied, and then these students undertook 5 weeks of Zoom training for this work. They were given information, accurate information, which was very useful for them, but they also had a chance to consider and talk about different teaching techniques, for example, games or group works. Lesson plans had to be produced for each session, and then they were ready, be it for face-to-face or for electronic training. This photo, very typical of young teenage girls taking their selfies, shows 4 very confident young women who are ready to take on a leadership position. As the quotation says, leadership is not a position or a title, it's action and example. And these girls, their 16 peers, the 5 women who trained, are certainly examples of people who have stood up, committed, and will take action to bring about lasting change. Long may their efforts continue. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Southwest Pacific. This really impressive project, which has helped over 3,500 adults and girls to education and empowerment, and importantly, to raise their voices. The use of young students to help teaching sexual and reproductive health is really a great idea we all can learn from. So congratulations to Southwest Pacific and to all the thousands of girls that they have empowered through this project. Dee Lockwood was not able to attend today, but if you have some questions for her, maybe someone else participating from Southwest Pacific might be able to answer. Or else, if you have a specific question, at the end we will send it to her, of course. So thank you so much. Impressive. Well, the next speaker will be from SIE, Soroptimist International of Europe. So welcome to Saya Kusenstol-Lancaster. Saya is the Vice President of Soroptimist International of Europe and will, among other things, tell us about obstacles for women in leadership positions and how SIE has extended their education activities for the benefit of young girls. Saya, the floor is yours.
My name is Saya Kuusisto-Lancaster, and I am one of the Vice Presidents of Soroptimist International of Europe, SIE. This is SIE. Our federation covers 40 countries in Europe, 3 in the Middle East, and 1 in the Caribbean. This picture went viral about a year ago when the new government of Finland, my home country, took office. All the key ministers were young women. Finland has continued to rank high on the World Economic Forum's annual Gender Gap Report Index. Even though the situation in Finland is good, compared to many other countries in the world, it is far from optimal. The number of women on the boards of businesses is only 30%, and with the current development, it will be taking another 30 years before we reach an equal number. In an ideal world, it shouldn't matter whether there's a woman or man running a business or an organization. Does a tech startup company care that it is a woman who makes finance more accessible? If a factory worker or fisherman gets a better share of the profits and can send his or her children to school, are they bothered that the woman made it possible? Yet, encouraging more women into leadership positions remains crucial in our era, given the fast approaching challenges of the future. Often, the door to board opens to CEOs of companies. According to Deloitte, only 4% of CEOs globally are women. More women are needed in STEM, and we Soroptimists have a great opportunity to encourage more girls to study technology and to seek employment in such industry. In addition, if we wish to see more women in the boards, we need to change the current too narrow role models. We need to teach younger women to not to be too self-critical and to also apply for jobs where they do not fulfill all requirements and to never decline a promotion. We should not forget about advocacy either. There are countries which have passed a law requiring a minimum share of each gender on the board of directors of public limited companies. Even though gender quota laws are often not the preferred option, they can sometimes be helpful to push the society to initiate the needed change. Soroptimists have a mission to educate to lead, to give young women a better chance to develop and to take on leadership roles in society, politics, work, and many other aspects of modern life. We believe that this is of vital importance in the constant fight to improve the lives and human rights for women and girls in the world. The aim of Soroptimist International of Europe, SIE, is to support young women to advance in their careers and to get access to leadership positions where the decisions are being made. SIE has therefore started to review the offering of our educational activities. We wish to support young women longer, more streamlined and more personalized. Through scholarships, SIE provides access to further education. This will lead to new skills and capabilities as well as improved career opportunities. Through leadership academies, SIE helps young women to find their strengths, to develop their self-confidence, and to increase their ability to take the lead. Through mentoring, SIE will reach thousands of young women to provide help, counseling, and guidance to the development of the mentees in terms of fostering their self-awareness and confidence in their own potential. SIE will create the benefits package for young women. It should result in stronger ties with the beneficiaries who will be able to achieve their goals, and at the same time, their input will enable us to adapt and adjust our ways of working to better meet the needs and expectations of the new generations. The benefits are mutual. We already grant scholarships. In the future, we are planning to commit ourselves to offer mentoring to the grantees as well. The young woman will not be alone during or after the completion of her studies, but a professional woman will be at her side, supporting her in this moment of transition. The Leadership Academy will be another European concept that we will cover. We have different models of Leadership Academy depending on the location, and in the next couple of years, new ones will be organized. We are proud to be able to soon communicate more about the newest one in Istanbul in July 2021, arranged by the Union of Turkey with the support of SIE. We are currently piloting to combine our Nordic Leadership Academy with mentoring. Following a week in the academy, the young women are offered a mentor for a year. The mentors will support them in following up the development plans they created in the Leadership Academy. Mentoring is an effective and rewarding way of sharing SIE members' knowledge, skills, and values with younger women. Soroptimists serve as an excellent pool of mentors as we are all professional women and have our own experience of how we have succeeded in reaching leading positions in society, many of us also having a family and children. But even more importantly, we can support these younger women to believe in themselves and their skills, encourage them to dare to lead. The willingness of the members of SIE to offer these young women their time as role models of successful women is of great value. If every Soroptimist in Europe mentors one young woman, we can help creating 30,000 powerful agents of change.
Thank you, Saya. Also very impressive what SIE have achieved for young women, but also plan for the future. You have addressed those like education and also gender equality, and also think good health and well-being. I hope that the challenge you call for, that every Soroptimist in Europe should be a mentor for a young girl, will be a reality. But think about also if it's all 72,000 Soroptimists around the world that would do the same. Wow. So, Saya, thank you so much and congratulations what you have achieved in Europe so far. And you will be here for questions, right?
Right.
Okay, good. Now I can see you. Okay, thank you, Saya. We will be back to you later on. The next presenter I would like to welcome is President Penny Babb, Soroptimist International of the Americas. Penny will present the project Dream It, Be It, a project that has gone on for many years and have empowered thousands of girls to reach their potential by providing them tools so they have been able to fulfill their dream. So please take the floor, Penny.
Hello, I'm President Penny Babb from Soroptimist International of the Americas. I would like to invite you to join me in a brief trip down memory lane. Picture your younger self at 16 years old. Most of us probably had a few things in common at that age. A trendy haircut, school crushes, and a breakout or two. Maybe you were fortunate to have supportive adults tell you that you could do anything. Maybe you saw obstacles and stressors beyond your control that seemed insurmountable. Ultimately, you knew you had potential, yet the path forward was unclear. Around the world, girls today still share this experience. Our research from hundreds of girls in over 20 countries and territories reveal that girls see celebration of their potential, but they don't feel equipped to unlock it. They hear all about girl power, but don't have the skills or the knowledge to apply it. Through Soroptimist International of the Americas' Dream It, Be It program, girls get the skills they need to achieve their fullest potential. What sets Dream It, Be It apart is the program doesn't just tell girls they can do anything, the program shows them how. Soroptimists use a 7-part curriculum to guide participants through identifying their strengths, exploring career options, setting goals, and overcoming obstacles. Girls may also hear from guest speakers who discuss how they overcame obstacles, or have informational interviews to learn firsthand about what paths professional women have taken to arrive where they are today. By adjusting the curriculum to best serve their community, Soroptimists are able to be innovative on a grassroots level and ensure that girls are receiving the tools they need to lead. Ultimately, girls leave the program having more confidence about their future success, having achievable goals for their future, and having new strategies to overcome challenges. Many girls even ask for more sessions because connecting with supportive adults and having a special space just for girls is so valuable to them. All of these experiences set them up to be strong leaders in their schools, communities, and their own lives, in whatever path they choose. Hearing the girls explain their takeaways in their own words is especially inspirational. One girl from Mexico said, "I learned to value and trust myself more, especially when it comes to achieving my dreams." I was relieved to hear that we may make a mistake in the future and that is part of learning, said one girl from Japan. A girl from California shared, "I learned that I am not alone in this world, and there are resources and people that help and genuinely care about me." These confident girls seize opportunities. They stick to their goals because they know they are within reach. They are prepared to overcome setbacks. And now they have a network of professional women and mentors who support them through their next steps. These powerful quotes are backed up by equally powerful outcomes. 88% of participants feel more confident about their future success. 86% feel more prepared to pursue their career goals. 84% now know women who want to support their professional aspirations. Through these outcomes and many more, girls who participate in Dream It Be It are prepared to be leaders and achieve their fullest potential across their lives. This DREAM program has reached over 73,000 girls since its inception in 2015. And we have our sights on reaching even more. SIA is launching our next big goal this year, to invest in the dreams of 500,000 women and girls through access to education, leading to economic empowerment. Dream It Be It's far reach and proven outcomes position this DREAM program to make a meaningful contribution to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, including number 1, ending poverty, number 4, ensuring inclusive and quality education for all, number 5, achieving gender equality, and number 8, promoting sustained and inclusive economic growth for all. Many of us know that poverty is a cycle. Dream It Be It holds promise that empowerment is a cycle too. When a girl is equipped to achieve her goals, she becomes a catalyst for change. In the words of Malala, one child, one teacher, one book, one pen can change the world. When thousands of girls are prepared to make their dreams come true, together they are a wave of freedom and feel the support to become a leader. Girls who unlock their potential through the power of education raise up their families, their communities, and the whole world with them. When we unlock the power of girls so that they can pursue leadership, there is no limit to what can be accomplished. Thank you.
Thank you, Penny, and the SI of the Americas for these, again, impressive achievements with the project, and for the enormous goal that you have set for the future, that you want to empower over 500,000 girls, young girls. It's really impressive. And I was very moved by what the Mexican girl expressed. She said, "I learned that I'm not alone in the world, and there are resources and people that help and generally care about me." What a strong statement. I think that's something we all should think about, that no one should be left behind. Penny was not able to be here today, but I'm sure there will be many from SIE that will be able to answer questions about the project Dream It Be It. So thank you again to Penny. The next speaker I would like to welcome is Irming Mackenzie. honored secretary of SI Esperance, which is a part of Soroptimist International, Great Britain and Ireland. Yemen will present a very interesting project, Gigi Girls with a Z, Trinidad and Tobago, a virtual program action project in cooperation with Microsoft Trinidad and Tobago and Microsoft UK, which aim to urge young girls in a rural area of the island to study within STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. You have the floor, Yemen.
Thank you for your introduction, Beverly. Hello to everyone. My name is Ermin Mackenzie, as you would have heard. I'm a member of Soroptimist International, Esperance, a club in the Great Britain and Ireland Federation. I'm honored to be on this panel with these amazing women to highlight the work of my club and by extension, my federation in empowering women and girls and preparing them to lead. Today, I will share with you the story of our DigiGirls Trinidad and Tobago project held in 2020, a virtual STEM project executed in collaboration with Microsoft Trinidad and Tobago and Microsoft UK. STEM being the acronym for science, technology, engineering, and math. So to give some context, where's the setting of our story? Trinidad and Tobago are the southernmost islands in the Caribbean chain. Trinidad is off the coast of Venezuela, 7 miles at the nearest point. We are a twin island nation state, Trinidad and Tobago. On the map to the right, the area circled red is the area where we work. These are mainly rural agricultural areas. Our clientele are the women and girls who reside here. Many of them are constrained from reaching their full potential by social and cultural norms and outdated gender stereotypes. There's much work to be done here to educate, empower, and provide enabling opportunities for these women and girls. So where did we start? Coming out of our project planning sessions, a STEM tree of proposed program action projects was developed. Why our focus on STEM? Firstly, we see them as pathways to the economic empowerment of women. Also, and more importantly, we see them as building capacity. More girls in STEM means more role models for girls. In STEM learning, role models matter. Seeing is believing. Seeing tells a girl that she can do it. And how are we going to get more girls in STEM? One way is by undertaking projects that raise their awareness of the vast opportunities and richness of careers available to them in this sector. Our DigiGirls project was one such project. In the lower left of the slide, the caption reads, "Mind the 100-year gap." How is that related to our STEM tree? Well, although significant strides have been made in the last decades, women are still underrepresented in the STEM disciplines. The World Economic Forum Global Gender Report 2020 predicts that if current trends continue, it will take another 100 years for men and women to achieve full parity. At SI Esperance, we find that unacceptable. So since our charter in 2018, our club has completed 3 STEM projects. 2018, Girls in Aviation. 2019, DigiGirls 1, an in-person event. 2020, DigiGirls 2, a virtual event. Our DigiGirls projects support Sustainable Development Goal 5, achieve gender equality and empower women and girls. Target 5.5. By 2020, ensure women's full participation in leadership and decision-making at all levels. And how will this be determined? Indicator 5.5.2, the proportion of women in managerial and leadership positions at that time. So what exactly is DigiGirls? It is one of Microsoft's signature programs. It is a global initiative by the Microsoft Corporation dedicated to educating and inspiring young women to learn more about the vast opportunities and career choices available to them in the high-tech sector. DigiGirls Trinidad and Tobago was scheduled for June 23rd, 2020. On that day, 28 girls from 4 rural secondary schools excitedly signed in. It was the first virtual DigiGirls in the Americas in 2020, something of which we are incredibly proud. It was held 3 months into the pandemic when schools were closed and virtual classes were still being perfected. DigiGirls events worldwide were being canceled or postponed. We persisted and transitioned to a virtual platform. Going virtual had the added benefit of allowing us to expand the pool of possible presenters and expose our girls to international content. And so we reached out to Microsoft UK and they willingly agreed to participate. On that day, the keynote was Ms. Carla Lopez Naves, Microsoft's Director of Education, who logged in from Puerto Rico. She advised the girls on goal setting and career planning. From the United Kingdom, we had Ms. Rose Borhin, who is Xbox Games category lead. She presented on video gaming and linked it to many aspects of STEM learning, particularly math and science. Mr. Richard Potter, the Chief Technology Officer, spoke on the pervasiveness of artificial intelligence in our everyday lives. And from Trinidad, there was Ms. Pauline Joseph, who gave a very interesting presentation on best practices for marketing yourself on LinkedIn. Ms. Shiraz Grant, web developer and entrepreneur, shared on web page design. So what made that day special? A few things. It was the first virtual DigiGirls in the Americas. In spite of that, Soroptimist International connected with our girls and brought the DigiGirls event to them where they were in their own homes using their own devices. 2, the relevance of the presentations, setting goals, visioning your career, best practices for social branding on LinkedIn, web page design, all very relevant to girls who were on the cusp of graduating from high school. In the end, 28 girls from rural schools were made aware of non-traditional STEM careers and non-traditional routes into them. And 3, the impact of the presentation on the girls as evidenced by their feedback, which is shown on the right. Each presentation is better than the one that went before. It is an eye-opening experience in the different ways that I can do stuff that I like and still make money. This was in relation to the presentation on video gaming. Web development is something I can see myself doing in the future. This comment related to the presentation on web page development. Judging from the feedback, we can safely say that our mission of raising the awareness of the richness of the jobs available had been achieved. This brings me to the end of my very short presentation. I hope it has inspired you to pursue the same or similar projects in your home country. I thank you attendees for your time and attendance, and I leave you with the reminder to mind the gap. 100 years is much too long a wait for gender parity. Thank you.
Thank you, Yamin. That was really great. Fantastic what you have achieved. And I understand that you will work for this in the future also. And I think you are, and the project, a role model for others, like you were saying yourself. And I'm sure that there will be questions for you, because it is scary if we have to wait 100 years before men and women achieve full parity in economic, political, education, and social, cultural affairs. We cannot have that. So thank you for sharing this with us.
Thank you.
And you will be here for questions, right?
Yes, I will.
Oh, great. Well, the last speaker, I'm sorry to say that Twinwe, the program director at Soroptimist International, Africa Federation, couldn't join.
She's with us, Ulla. She's with us.
Oh, she's with us. Oh, because I can't see that on my phone. Oh, that's marvelous.
I'm here.
So last but not least, I welcome Twinwe Maba, the program director at Soroptimist International, Africa Federation. Twinwe will present the story of African girls on their way to success. Few selected projects by Soroptimist in Africa, from Morocco to the north, to Nigeria in the west, and Zimbabwe in the south. Among others, Sustainable Development Goals 1, 2, and 8 are addressed. So Twinwe, please take the floor.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm not the program action for SI Africa Federation. Rather, I'm in the advocacy team. And I was given the opportunity to speak on behalf of SI African Federation. I'm aware, you are aware, that this is our first appearance as a federation in CSW, and we are very excited. So here we are to speak for ourselves on things happening in our continent, and we decided to go fishing in many of the countries represented, and there was so much done. Because of time limit, we were only able to, because of the space given, we're only able to talk on few of the projects to emphasize on what we are doing with the SDGs. Especially in Africa, we have a problem, which I think is also worldwide, of there's the poverty, and there is the girls as endangered species because of cultural limitations, traditional practices, poverty, stereotype, education, inequality, etc. So when an opportunity calls, many of our girls are ready and willing to run with it. Hence, you're going to see the success stories from some of the selected projects by Soroptimists in Africa, from Morocco in the north, Nigeria in the west, Zimbabwe in the south, and others that we couldn't accommodate because of the time and space. And as they try in their different ways to bring meaning to life for most of these girls, in the overall, it is expected that the programs organized by this clause for the girls will help them address these stereotypes, overcome gender discrimination, learn confidentiality, and develop capacity to lead within the space being offered them by the governance system in place. Second slide. There is a special case in Morocco, Marrakech, The girls in the rural areas are not able to continue their education because most of the secondary schools, the higher institutions do not have boarding facilities for girls. So many of them end up being married off, and the Soroptimist ladies there got together and decided to build a hostel. And this is the greatest success story that many of the girls, and this particularly is a place where Hafsa, her story began, because here she is a girl who had dreamt big of making a great living for herself and impacting on others. This dream would have died a natural death. Was it not for these kind-hearted Soroptimist ladies from Marrakesh, Morocco, who gave meaning to her dream? And here she has accomplished it by graduating and going further, which an opportunity she ordinarily would not have had. Next slide. The same is applicable to that's the hostel. That's where these girls, during the pandemic, they had to go home. But when they realized the lockdown, they came back with observing all the protocols, the social distancing, the face masks and all that. So the girls were able to come back to school and continue with their education. They do have recreational facilities and learning ability and dancing classes in order to energize them to have a total learning program for them. Here is the hostel where the girls stay, and from there they attend the schools they got admission into. And this have helped so many of these girls. Many of them are on their way to higher, and we can see it's a great success story. They've got over 500 girls passing through this, and they're expecting more. But the most important thing to note here is that this is solely sponsored by the Soroptimists in Marrakesh or in Morocco. They have found ways of sponsoring these girls. So the poor that would ordinarily not have attended this education are now going to school to further their education. And that will be, in the long run, the way forward. Also, it did not stop there. SI Lekki in Nigeria, in partnership with 3 other foundations, domesticated the priority team of the UN CSW65 in Nigeria. The SDGs covered poverty, quality education. Most girls do stop coming to school, especially when they are menstruating. And that affects the quality, the standard of education and what they can attend in life. Many of them are bullied. Many of them are intimidated. Many of them are shy. And when this was noticed, the club in Nigeria gathered and decided to visit many of these schools in some villages and rural areas. First of all, teaching the girls on the use of sanitary ware and donating some to them, and also teaching them on their self-hygiene and how to be very sure of themselves. And this program has actually gone a long way in stabilizing the schools. The report they got is that many of the girls in the last term and these do not miss schools again. Before, when they're menstruating, it means every month they have to miss school for 4 to 5 days. that has stopped. And also they couldn't, some of them cannot afford the sanitary. They hope that this will be a continuous project until they can find solution to it. So that is what they've been doing here, and it's really paid off. Many schools, they visited over 5 schools, and over 200 sanitary pads were shared. SI Harare in Zimbabwe is not left out. This is an orphanage where the girls grow and they have to be useful to themselves within the community they are staying in. And here they equipped the school and empowered them through skills training program that focus on different areas of life, as is shown, and the act of sewing and cookery. The clothes we see them wearing, the apron, they made it, and the face masks. Within this pandemic, they've been making this and selling different colors, different designs, and that has kept the orphanage going because there's been a little of donor fatigue, and this has covered the SDG 8 and 9. The girls here, you can see, are showcasing their work. And the last slide is very interesting because many of these girls are told from their villages that they are going for greener pastures. And many of them, their parents from the low income willingly give them out, thinking that their girls are going for better earning, either as a house help or to be trained in school by their, but some of them are put into one form of prostitution or the other. And this club had gone around picking those girls and putting them up in a home away from home. And these girls are now making a living for themselves. Theirs is very interesting because many of them now realize that what they thought they were going for wasn't really what they were brought out to do. So they are so keen and happy staying here. It turned out to be the home they never had, and the equipment the learning skills they've equipped them with. And when we saw this project, we felt it's really one of the ways to equipping the girls on their way to leadership. And if we must get that, education is the key. And that is what the girls are lacking in Africa, either because of the culture and the tradition. And we really need to emphasize on that. Many clubs are involved in that. Also, SI Timbuktu, Mali, are training girls also on this skill. So the African Federation, SI African Federation, greeting from our President Connie Motungu, is really emphasizing the projects we're emphasizing on education for the girl child and by extension the boys, and is paying off. Even when the lockdown was on, the problem again was the issue of the energy and the internet. But with this, they have been able to, everybody is now logging in, the children are learning to learn online, and it's a great thing that is happening with these girls. And thank you for this opportunity to represent Africa. Africa is a great continent. We have so much to showcase. When next, we'll be there. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you, Twinwe. That was really great and very life-giving stories of girls being helped by Soroptimist all over Africa to their success. Well, being in Africa myself several times, visiting projects, I have always been very impressed by African Soroptimist engagement, creativity, and strong commitment to empower women and girls.
Yes.
So, Twinley, congratulations. I'm sorry I said program instead of advocacy. So I hope you forgive me for that. We are going a long way back, the two of us. Okay. And you will stay for questions also. Do you have time for that today? Okay.
Yes, I'm
great.
here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Wow. I really think that we have been blown away today, what we have seen. Soroptimists all over the world are really making a difference for women and girls. Well, I'm so proud to be a Soroptimist, and I know you all are proud, and we should speak up about it to everyone and tell about what we are doing, because this is really impressive. So thank you so much to all the speakers for their work to make these videos and PowerPoint presentations. I will end by repeating the quote of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Women belong in all places where decisions are being made. It shouldn't be that women are the exception. So I will give the word over to President Sharon Fisher. And Sharon, I can tell you, I have been working together with Sharon at board level several years ago. I was thinking that it is almost 10 years, Sharon, when we started in 2011. It has been a pleasure, and I want to congratulate you for being in the lead of the 21st century with webinars, a podcast, and new structure, and whatever you can find out to ask us to think about. And this has been a pleasure. So over to you, Sharon.
Thank you, Ulla, and great job. I welcome everyone to our webinar today, and it's different for those of you who have been joining us for the monthly webinars, but we're learning again. I want to start by saying that we all have a dreamer inside of us where anything is possible if we are willing to persevere. Unfortunately, many women and girls must overcome what seems impossible just to survive, let alone thrive. As Soroptimist International celebrates 100 years of lifting up women and girls, we've seen the difference we can make in someone's life. From local projects in over 120 countries to influencing global policy through our consultative status under ECOSOC, we work towards a goal of achieving gender equality and ensuring human rights for everyone. Thinking globally and acting locally, we educate, empower, and create enabling opportunities to transform the lives of women and girls. In addition to our grassroots work, our learning is shaped through international projects, where all members come together to support projects that address key issues impacting women and girls. Over the century, we have learned about so many issues and solutions addressing barriers that impact women and girls. For my term, my concern was about those who have barriers to education and leadership, resulting from issues like trafficking, child enforced marriage, domestic violence, female genital mutilation, a migration journey, and lastly, older women's rights. For us to achieve gender equality, we need to understand the issues. We need to join hands to create change, to ensure that no one is left behind. We need to become leaders and advocates ourselves, and we need to create the next generation of leaders and advocates. The Road to Equality Appeal supports projects and campaigns for each of these topics. Here's the stories of lived experience from survivors and learns the root causes. We have been hosting webinars this year during the pandemic, bringing our members together to hear about these issues, meet the experts, meet the survivors, and hear their stories, creating informed advocates locally, nationally, and internationally. I want to share a story about a girl from a small village in Kenya. She had a strong mother who knew the value of education. Her mother should be recognized as a leader since she ensured her daughter received an education, taught her she could be anything, helped her avoid child marriage and other practices until she successfully found her way to a country where she achieved a postgraduate degree. Instead of using her education in her new country, she returned to her village in Kenya and built a community center for girls, inspired by her own experiences. And today, some 12 years later, her center is a refuge for girls and local villagers who learn water management, agriculture, digital literacy, economic empowerment, menstrual hygiene, and of course, leadership skills. We are so pleased to support the Leadership Academy for 200 girls this year, each selected to attend by the headmasters of their schools as promising future leaders. The next story I will share is about a group of girls from a tribal area in India who in most cases have never been outside their village. And if not for a new program to mentor them in their education, provide teamwork and equality through football or soccer, as we call it, in this area, 63% of the girls leave school during adolescence, and 70% of the girls have suffered abuse. Child marriage and trafficking are all but eliminated in this group of girls in this program. The girls become leaders and take on mentoring and coaching of the next group of girls through participation in the program Beyond Football that we are supporting. Next is about several girls from several different countries in Africa who went through FGM as adolescent girls. Much of the FGM funding is not making it to the grassroots in community. So when I heard about the work of the Global Media Campaign that supported local activists, we developed a project to form the Soroptimist 6, who were active in 5 African countries, campaigning to end FGM. Having the support of an international organization, the activists are much more successful in meeting the goal of educating local and national leaders on the harmful effects of FGM. The activists are trained in media and campaigns that are developed using radio and other media to bring the message of the harmful effects of FGM to rural villages and more. Money goes right to the grassroots to make a difference, and these activist leaders who have overcome adversity themselves are making a difference in working towards a zero tolerance for FGM. The next story is about women who have been forced to flee their home and country to find safety in another country. They are undocumented and may find themselves unable to work and frequently land in refugee programs if they are fortunate. Many encounter violence along the way, and it's probable they don't speak the language and on arrival have nothing. We will be working with a refugee center where we have a member who will interview the women and hear their stories. We'll provide an arrival kit with basic needs to assure some comfort. And over time, the women will be given a chance to learn the language and be sponsored to settle in a new country. One of our members, herself having migrated, will be on site locally to support the project. For trafficking, domestic violence, and older women, so many of our clubs already engage in projects around these issues. And we have brought forward stories of survival by women who have now found their way into leadership after overcoming adversity. There's many ways to leadership. And in the case of survivors, they have the scars to teach them they are stronger than what caused those scars. Many of the women and girls we help will claim that one of the most important outcomes was being recognized by successful women who they didn't know, they may never meet, and yet who were concerned about helping them and see them succeed. Everyone can be a leader. Leadership is about making others better because of your presence and making sure that impact lasts in your absence. This makes all our Soroptimist leaders, and we are committed to play our part in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals as we prepare women and girls to lead us for the next 100 years. And I'd like to thank Ulla Madsen for moderating today, and I will turn the floor back to Ulla. Thank you very much. Are you muted, Ulla?
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, good. I'm sorry, but I cannot see anything in the iPhone of questions. So I'm so sorry, Sharon, but could you look if there's some questions?
Yes. And there is a question for Claire. Is a young woman with vision and strength, or as a young woman with vision and strength, what is your opinion that Soroptimist must change to be more visible and attractive to other young women?
Good question. I think that's an important question because I do think that there should be more involvement with more people my age. I think I was lucky enough to be able to be an intern, but I know that that's not usually an opportunity, and that this is a special case. So I think that that's a really great way to, first of all, get the name out there, but also to get people involved, like even if it's not a paid internship or if it's a volunteer experience, because that's like all I see. Everyone my age right now is just on LinkedIn looking for internships. And even if I hadn't heard of the organization before, if I just see that they have a post on it, I already learned so much about them. I visit their website, look at their mission, look at their projects. And even if I don't end up applying to it, I know the name. So I think that would be something really beneficial. And then once you do have more people that are involved on the younger side, I think it's easier for them to attract other people. Like I know for me, my roommates and other girls that I'm friends with have sat in on the webinars that I've co-hosted with SI, and they find it really interesting because I think what the organization is doing is really important and the projects are really cool, and it's inspired me a lot. But it's inspired my roommates and the other girls as well. But it's just about getting the name out there.
Thank you, Claire. And I will say that nothing makes me happier than mentoring a younger woman. Creating space for these people is critical. And we have to make the space, we have to respect them, bring them along, and who knows? It is our future, so it's definitely something we need to be doing. So thank you very much, Claire. And Claire had the opportunity to intern with me, and I have really enjoyed working with her. So it's been great. Another question for Saya. The mentors in the program are professional women, but not necessarily coaches. So there's two questions. How do you train the mentors? And the second question was, can or will SIE organize training webinars for the mentors?
Thank you for the question. Yes, all the Soroptimists are professional women, and therefore our goal is, like I already told, is that everybody would mentor at least one woman during our career as Soroptimists. As it's a lot about sharing our own experiences, talking about what we have done and how we have overcome problems and issues, as well as listening and giving feedback. But the person who asked the question is fully right. We do have training, and we have just last week launched our digital online training for all the countries and all the mentors of SIE. People can access it digitally from their homes, so they don't have to travel. And we are sharing views on how to start a mentoring program, how to run it, how to create the relationship between the mentor and the mentee, and also certain practicalities such as active listening and how to pose powerful questions. So all of that is already available, and our members throughout the Federation can access the training throughout through our website.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to ask Ermin. I mean, I asked her the question yesterday because we're working on migration now about Venezuela, because she is, of course, very close. Trinidad and Venezuela are just across the channel, as she said, 7 miles. So I suspected that they had some experience. Our next webinar will be on migration. And so Ermin has offered to provide one of the speakers to explain the impact Trinidad and Tobago are having from Venezuela. Would you comment on that, Ermin?
Yes, I can. And I did promise that I would ask a member of our club who has already led such a project to liaise with you on that. We do have a problem with the migration from Venezuela. And what our country has done in an attempt to stem the flow is to create a register of the migrants. But things are extremely difficult in Venezuela, and we are very close. There are a number of unprotected beaches, and they come across in swarms during the night and just run onto the land and scatter. And it's also human trafficking is involved. And recently a boat was on its way, and a small boat was on its way, and it overturned, and I think 33 people died. So it is a problem. It is a problem.
Thank you very much. I just know that we have some good friends, Soroptimist friends in Venezuela, so we often think about that situation. Chinwe, I have a question for you regarding FGM, because I was so pleased when the Nigerian region hosted a webinar a few weeks ago, and it was to bring the awareness of FGM. I mean, I don't think you need awareness, you need solutions, and you need people buying into stopping it. But 2 of our activists from the Soroptimist 6 joined the webinar. So that was my hope, was that we could combine our activists with our members on the ground, and that in fact happened. Can you comment on that? It was an excellent webinar with government officials and many Soroptimists. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I also attended the webinar. You were there, and it was really interesting. The thing you would have noticed, as said by some of the speakers, the cultural inhibitions that makes people not to want to speak about it. So you can go to these villages and want to find out from the girls whether they have gone through this, through this process, and they will deny it, because there's this cultural thing that if you say it out, maybe it will not work again for you. And so they tie it around so many myths, and the girls don't want to speak about it. So sometimes within the community, you will not hear it, but you can go outside and they can speak outside the community, but within theirs, they will not. So that's one of the problems we're having, and it was identified at that meeting. And the areas of practice also, we do know. And we have decided, Soroptimist Nigeria has decided that it's not just having the webinar, but we're going to have more of awareness and advocacy on the bad effects of it, create that going on, and it's going to be a continuous thing. That was one of the communique issued on that day. Yes, it was very interesting. And thank you for sponsoring that. It was really good and an eye-opener. The commissioners that spoke were from the states that FGM is still so endemic. So they spoke and they are working on it.
Good. Thank you so much. I think that's it, unless any more questions came in. Ulla, I'll turn it back over to you for a closing. Can't hear you, Ulla.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Good.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sharon, and thank you for the very enlightening and also important presentation of the road to equality, which you have shown today. I think we are all in for it, and I have to say that today is the first day in our lives, so I think we should take power, as the Secretary General said. I think we have to do it. And I want to thank everyone to attend today. I think we have been around 150. I can't see it, but I'm sure around that figure. So thank you so much for spending 1.5 hours with us today, and wish you all the best, and take care and stay healthy, and see you soon. Sharon, when is the next webinar we are going to meet where we can see each other?
Well, it'll be about migration, and it'll be in the next few weeks. We just really needed to finish CSW. We're also terribly busy,
sure.
but we do have our speakers somewhat lined up. So
Okay.
Sue's looking at me thinking, oh dear, here we go again.
So,
It will be in April.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you to everyone. I cannot wait to you, but I cheer you. So thank you. Bye-bye to everyone.